I'm live. I'm live now. Okay. I never know. I know I always say that when I kind of pop on here, but I never really know because there's this says live over here, then this over here, the counter's not going yet, and then it finally says you're live, and it's like what? So sorry. Anyway, to kind of continue with what I was talking about yesterday, the Jeff Balke Studios, the beginning. Um, I want to take you now to like the convention scene. So a lot of you may know that I worked in comic books for a very long time, and I still consistently, not consistently, but I still do currently. That's what I meant to say today. But the books that I work on mainly are for the studio, the comic strips, and of course comic books, which I know I've told you numerous times. Our very first one, Stanley's Ghost, was our first. We are actually currently working on the second and the third one right now. But I want to take you into Comic Con or comic scene a little bit, at least my view on everything, a little Nat. Um, so going to all the conventions, as I said yesterday in part one of the beginning, is Brandon and I would drive to all the conventions all over the country. Drive. So living right here in Wisconsin, we would drive to California. We would drive to Seattle. We would drive, of course, to Florida, which our car kind of just goes that way now. Uh, we would even drive into Canada, not far into Canada, but we would just go basically right over the border into Winnipeg. So like but we would still be driving all over the country. And I'll tell you what, that car took a lot of beating, but it lasted a very long time until Rudolph, or I should say, just a deer, a week before Christmas in 2017, when everything was going just completely bad for me. Let me turn that down. When everything was just going completely to poop, man, let me tell you, that was the last thing that Brandon and I needed. But anyway, so at the conventions, when we would set up, it was a great time, and it still is a great time. But it was such a great time to set up at conventions across the country because we got to see so much of this country. First of all, because we drove. But secondly, being at the shows and seeing all the different people, meeting all the different people, friends into fans and fans into friends and stuff like that. It was so cool. The vibe was awesome. But it got to a point where, again, like I said yesterday, I just completely lost it. I just got overwhelmed. Um, I just didn't want to do it anymore, and it just really kind of hurt. So, and that actually, and then I just stopped doing shows for about a month. And the first show that I canceled was New York Comic Con. This was like in 20, I don't remember what year it was, but I was just overwhelmed. I was just going crazy. I needed a break. I needed some time off, and it does, Dave. It does. It really does. But again, after all that was said and done, of course, that's when I said, I'm like, well, I'm going to start my own studio. I'm going to have my own characters, my own stories, or I'm going to do my own things. Super excited about doing them. I mean, as you can see, my little guy right down over here, Stanley, who's like, hey. Uh, he was actually the first character I created in the studio, who actually was a character I had when I was a kid, but we could talk about that later. So we're at a convention. We're actually in Texas, and I remember specifically, but we were actually at one of the Dallas Comic Cons, one of the last ones that we did before Fan Expo took it over, and two people came up to me, and because they heard that I was going to switch, I had my own studio and I'm going to do my own thing. Two people actually told me, well, if you do your own thing, we're not going to follow you anymore because we like the stuff that you're doing now. We don't want to follow your new stuff unless it's the same thing. For those of you who and even to this day, I will never forget, I'll never forget who they are. Of course, I won't say who they are, but they were just fans of mine from Texas. To this day, that rings in my ear, and it infuriates me. It really does. It really put a sour taste in my mouth. Um, Thank you, Kayla. Thank you. But it really did put a sour taste in my mouth. And that was only the first show. There was one more show after that. Now that one I can't remember where it was, but I remember the first one was in Texas because it was a couple of friends, a couple of people. I never expected to actually say something like that. It was just really wow, just a slap in the face. And but so I nicely said, well, thank you very much. I appreciate all your money you've given me over the years. To kind of be just kind of slap them right back in the face too. And of course I never saw them again after that, or heard from them. They're not even on. They deleted me from Facebook. Oh no, so they just completely got rid of me because I started my own studio. And I said it the other day to somebody, and I said, one of the biggest reasons, besides Brandon, that's a given. One of the biggest reasons why I get up every morning is because of my studio. It's because of my main six characters: Stanley, Natasha, Baby Fang, Chester, Bandit, and of course, Billy Billington. It's because of those six characters that I get up every morning, and I am super, super stoked to be working on them. I'm just really happy. And I think that's what I was missing for many years at the conventions. Yeah, we would, at most any show that we set up at, Brandon and I would have a nice setup. And some of you may have seen us at some of the conventions. We would have like two or three people deep all the time at our booth, all the time at our booth. It just from open to close for the most part, depending on what show it was. And it was wonderful. Yeah, we were making money. Absolutely. But money does not buy you happiness. It doesn't. I mean, stress doesn't either. But um, it. I mean, I was very unhappy. I was very unhappy, and I had a breakdown. And of course, at this point, I started getting rid of my superhero prints, which probably took me all of about 5 years, totally to get rid of, because of my mentality was, well, let me bring the people in and have the superhero stuff like Spider-Man and Superman's, Wonder Woman's, those characters that we all know. Let me bring people in with that, and then I can start talking to them about the studio. I can start introducing them to the characters. And it worked for a little bit and at some shows. But going from 2 to 3 people deep all around our booth down to maybe having, I don't know, 25 people stop by the table, um, or booth, it kind of gave me a kick in the pants. It really, really, really was tugging at my stomach, and it really hurt because it's like, well, what am I doing wrong? I mean, there's got to be something I'm doing wrong. What am I not doing that I should be doing? And as every weekend or every show, I would sit there with Brandon going, well, brainstorm, like, what did I do wrong? I mean, do I have to bring the superhero stuff back? Do I have to do this? And he says, no. He's like, why would you want to do that? You're trying to do your own thing. You're trying to branch off and do something completely different. And we both agreed and said, well, okay, you're right. You're right. And he's like, Jeff, you were trying, and see, this is where I love my husband so much. He really is. I mean, he really is um, just such a big supporter, and it really helped. And a lot of times, this is how we be in going to conventions, like going to San Diego and all the big shows, where they're, days away, not just a couple of hours. But we'd be talking in the car, and then, in the car, actually, after the show, he's like, Jeff, you're trying to do something that a lot of people can't do. And I say, you know what, you're right. You're right. I'm trying to create something, a whole brand new world that a lot of people just can't do. And I also know that that's true because two friends of mine, we were at a convention, and I told them they saw what I was trying to do. And this kind of solidified that not everybody can do this. This is not very easy. A lot of people think, oh, creating a character, oh, that's simple, it's easy peasy. Oh, a comic, oh my God, that's so easy. Well, it's not. A couple of friends of mine, and they're very popular with creating comics and, well, prints and stuff like that. They have an agent and all that stuff. Saw him at a convention, and one thing that really stuck to me that he said was, Jeff, I don't have the balls to do what you're doing. What you're doing is just amazing. I mean, cutting your funding down, going from making superhero prints to doing what you want to do. I just don't have the guts or the balls to do that. And the other person said the same thing. And that also resonates with me in my head all the time whenever I have doubt about the studio. And it makes me feel really good that what I'm doing is something, yes, that I want to do. And yes, the characters in the studio make me want to get up every morning. Again, besides Brandon, that's a given, but they make me want to get up every single morning and want to work. Yeah, okay, I'm not making, thousands of dollars a day or even a week or hell, even a year. Uh, I mean, I'm going to be very honest with you. The behind the scenes creating everything is really difficult, and there's not a lot of pay in it, if any at all. In my case, there's not. So, kind of putting all that together with all the different shows that we've done and then talking to people about the studio, now I finally just got rid of all the superhero prints, which really feels good. I have a couple lingering here and there, which I might bring out like for special occasions or maybe giveaways, maybe even on here, do some giveaways. People I listen watching is like, hey, share this, you might get something free, do something kind of like that. Um, but I have a couple that are lingering just here and there, but really all the superhero prints are gone. So now everything I have is all studio. All the different art tunes, those are my versions of prints. I just call them art tunes, cartoon art, and I just kind of mix the words together, art tunes. Um, but my own, but everything is all of my own characters, my own backgrounds, all the stories. We only have the one comic now, but we're going to be hopefully, coming out in January. We're going to be releasing a new comic strip series. It just kind of depends. We'll see how it goes. Just I'm kind of missing an artist here, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on with my cartoonist. So that kind of stinks. Thanks, Jim. Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, I will. Oh, yeah, I will, Jim. Believe me. Don't stop believing. Yeah, don't even ask me to try to sing that song because I can't get that high right now if I wanted to. But but yes, the convention scene has been kind of difficult for me because that's not what people are looking for at conventions, and I know that. However, there are some shows where I do set up, and because it's different, it's kid friendly, it's all ages, it's not all TNA stuff. You see, and when these guys at the convention at the Dallas show said that to me, they were buying all the stuff that I worked on at Zenoscope. And Zenoscope, they have very sexualized grim fairy tales. It's horror and sex at all at the same time. And sexy, sorry, sexy, not sex, sexy. So it's just a lot of TNA in there, and yeah, it was okay. It was okay. It got me out. It got me published. I will never say. Zenoscope helped me an awful lot because they got me out there. They gave me books where the books came out. At least one a month. And this was solid for 5 years. With them. Plus, some other gigs that I had along the way as well. And before and after. So but that just wasn't my whole entire thing I wanted to do. As I kind of put them side by side, the stuff at Zenoscope that I did and the stuff that I'm doing now, I mean, it's like two different people, literally. But the difference is that my stuff is my stuff. It's my characters, it's my stories, and that is where my heart is. Yes, I love coloring. If anybody were to ask me to color up a book, I most likely would do it, depending on what the terms are. But I mostly because I love to color comics. I just love coloring, and I got this Cintiq here, and I really want to start using it. Yes, I'm using it for my stuff like backgrounds and stuff like that for the animation, which is great, but I never really put them together with a print or a piece of art or a comic. So that's a lie. No, I did do it with a print. I just haven't done it with a comic yet. Done a full comic on the Cintiq, so it'd be kind of cool to do that. But anyway, so that's kind of where the conventions all went for me. So I stopped doing shows for a while, and I was trying to do some little like 1 day shows here and there, like not cons but shows. Those were doing okay for a bit, kind of okay. But I mean, literally, when you're going from like 2 or 3 people deep at your booth, and you go down to like literally 25 people a day that might come by your spot and check out your stuff, and you're only talking to maybe 5 or 6 people out of those 25, it kind of gives you, it kind of puts you in a dark place. It really does. So at the same time that all that was going on, our funding was going down. I wasn't really going to shows anymore. Conventions were just, whew, they were just tanking. I think there's a lot of other reasons for that, not just, but all of that was really starting to get to me. And then, of course, that's when I was saying, 2017, which I've mentioned before, is a really bad year in my life. We've had, my dad's death. I got diagnosed with MS a month after my dad passed away from MS and pneumonia. Um, I had a lot of other little issues that were going on. I was very stressed out. A lot of things going on that year. And of course, then our car got totaled by Rudolph at the end of the year, so that didn't help us at all. And that's the car that we took out to all the shows. So it was a lot of stuff, and then I went in an even darker place, unfortunately. And every year it just got darker and darker and darker. There just wasn't a happy moment. There just wasn't. And leading up to 2019, Brandon and I thought, okay, this is going to be this is our savior here. We're going to move to Florida, and we did. We did for a limited time. So from December 1st, technically December 2nd, we got out there. December 2nd to sometime late July, right before my birthday in July, we moved back last year. Now, of course, last year being a pandemic, things were just way out of control everywhere. It doesn't matter where you were, everywhere it was out of control. And but Florida just kind of seemed to be like one of the hot spots, and that's what everyone kept saying, is like Florida is a hot spot. And it was really kind of just freaking us out. Now, we were part of those people in the beginning where we're like, oh, this is just like the flu. This sounds too much, too coincidental, like the flu. And yeah, they're just trying to scare it. That's because that was the kind of news that was out there at the time. I'm not going to turn this into right, left, blue, red. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. Forgive me one second. I'm not doing that. But that's just the kind of stuff. So it was freaking everybody out. It was freaking us out, because with having MS, my immune system is down. Not down like counted out, completely gone. No, 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 no. It's not as strong as it normally would be. So I have to be careful. If someone were to sneeze and they had a cold or the flu, I can get it very quickly. And that's what this virus does. It does the same thing. You can get it very quick, especially if you have a lower immune system. And unfortunately, I did. It's better now because of medication, but at the time. So we're kind of freaking out about that a little bit. But the job force, Brandon luckily had a job where he was working throughout the entire time. So that was great, but we were staying with friends. One person, I'm going to say, kicked us out because we just weren't paying every single bill that they wanted us to pay. But then our other friends, we decided that there were too many people in the house. We were missing our dogs like crazy. So we wanted to just get up and we wanted to go. We wanted to take care of some bills. Brandon and I had like an idea of what we wanted to do, and then go back to Florida. Pay some stuff off. Give ourselves a couple of years, then go back out to Florida, and at that point, buy a house. And my mom, Brandon, and I would be in one house. My brother's already down there; he's in Tampa, and everything would be hunky dory. Well, here's where the really dark part starts coming in. So already at this point in time, I'm already kind of like, because of everything that's 2017, 18, and 19, already kind of stressed out. And then, of course, everything, with the move going down to Florida, we had to leave everything up here in Wisconsin. So whatever we could put in our little car at the time, December 1st of 2019, is what we moved with. And that was rough. That was just rough. This little gnat just won't go away. That was just a very rough trip for 8 months. We love being out there. We had a great time, of course. Everyone who knows me knows that we love us. No, we love Florida. We love Disney World. Big Disney fans. Like I was saying yesterday, it's kind of like where I re-energize, kind of get my artistic mojo back a little bit. Is like walking around Disney, looking at all the stuff, the different pictures, and going to the Art of Disney, one of my favorite places of all time. Um, that's always like a thing of mine. But we came back because something didn't seem right with my mom. And again, not to go into completely a lot of detail, but I became a caregiver to my mom, and that was really rough. That was very rough. Um, she had cancer, and she passed away in October of last year. And I know that I've mentioned that once or twice before, but that was the big turning point in mine and our lives. Brandon and I we woke up real quick. Uh, we were living in a house. Some of you guys might remember, like, the background was a lot different. I was in a basement. Now we're in a one-bedroom apartment. But we were in a decent sized house, and we had to shrink everything down to one bedroom. And there were so many circumstances with that selling of the house and everything else that I can't even begin to tell you guys. I mean, it was it was rough. And again, I went to a dark place, and unfortunately, even right now, I'm still kind of there. However, I'm creeping out of it. And the steps are very small, but now they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and I'm feeling better. I'm feeling a lot better. Yes, Jim, thank you, Jim. That's right. Yeah, you did talk to her. Yeah, yeah. Um, it has just been a whirlwind for such a long time of everything that B and I have gone through, over like even just the past year. Minus the pandemic. Let's not even think of that because everyone's going through that. But like just all the other personal stuff going on it's really been hard. And it's hard to wake up with a smile on your face and pretend everything is hunky dory and fine. And that's why I haven't posted a lot of videos and stuff like that, is because of that reason. Stupid little gnat just won't go away. And it always has to be like right about here, my nose or my mouth area. So if you see my tongue kind of come out, you're going to know why. Kind of like a frog's or a lizard's does, because I'm catching that stupid little gnat. But I am crawling out of it, slowly. Things are looking pretty okay right now with the studio. I have a really good plan of what I'm going to do. It's my original plan I said I was going to do with the studio. And nah, I'm not going to give away too many details with that, and that's something else too that's new for me. So being in the comic world, I would tell you guys everything I was working on and doing. I can't do that too much right now because there's a lot of process behind it. And if I don't do something, then it's like, well, I just kind of lied and that's not coming out. There's just so many projects that are just kind of hanging there right now that I wish I can get to them all. I really do. But eventually I will. So that's kind of where I came from, with the shows. That dark place, like I said, I'm crawling out of it. And like I said, the steps are getting bigger and bigger for me. So that's good. As some of you may know, Brandon and I, we now have our own coffee, so that kind of helps too. That's something that he and I have wanted to do for a long time. And actually, that's our coffee right there that I'm drinking. That's my light roast coffee. So if some of you guys don't know that we even have coffee, I'm going to put it in the comments. Gosh, we actually do clean. I'm telling you now, this stupid little gnat, I don't know where it came from. It just likes to bug me today. But I'm going to put up the link to our coffee. There. So there it is. I just put the link up there for you guys. So you can always go check that out. But we have light, medium, and dark roast. We're starting small. So we're just going to start with those three. And then we're going to gradually, we're actually starting to work with, tinker around with some flavors of coffee. So, but we're selling a whole bean because the coffee lasts a lot longer at the whole bean. I'm not going to go into all that right now because, like I said, there's so much that I want to tell you guys. But definitely go check that out at coffeepaletonline.com. Coffee Palette is actually the name of our coffee. And yeah, go check it out, guys. Full 1 pound bags. I mean, 1 pound. So 16 full ounces. So that's an extra 4 ounces than what Starbucks or anybody else gives you. Um, that should last, depending on how big your coffee cup is, anywhere from a day to 3 days extra. So, hey, that means a lot to me. I'm telling you guys right now, you know. But anyway, so that's kind of where I'm sitting now. We are slowly, I mean, I am slowly going back to some conventions. Basically, I'm trying all the conventions that are more local here. And local to me is like anywhere within a 5 hour radius. Anything that's outside of that, we're going to, of course, we can drive to. But anything outside of 5 hours, we do want to fly to. But it's going to be very scarce. There's a couple of bigger shows I definitely want to do, maybe even up to 4. But I have to play all that by ear just to kind of see it, because with having your own studio, you have to be home, or you have to be in the studio, and you have to be working. Because if I'm out somewhere, it's really hard when people are texting me or they're calling me or doing a live video. It's really hard to talk because your mind's not there, because your mind is on, okay, I'm here at the show. And you don't want to tell anybody, hey, I'll be right with you. You don't want to tell your people that. You don't want to tell the fans that, because it's just kind of rude. At least to me, it is, because they're there to see you. They stop by your booth or table to see you. So make sure that you're physically and mentally right there. But that's how I grew up. So I think that's about it. Yeah, it's about, I try to keep these about 30 minutes, every day that I do, that I talk about these, that I have the little talks. That's enough time to get some info out there for you guys. But like I said, I am slowly going to be going back to conventions. I have one more show this year, and that's the MightyCon Milwaukee Comic Con, which is coming up November 13th. And had a couple of signings, in-store signings. And I also do something called the Milwaukee Makers Market. So anybody out there who's in the Milwaukee area, if you've ever heard of these or you want to go to it, it's a free event for everybody. And of course, Milwaukee at Discovery World. So it's only on Sundays from like 10 to 4. So I think parking on the street, of course, is free. And then I'm not sure about the parking in Discovery World, but I know that street parking is definitely free. So if you want to come out, check that out. We're going to be there. This is going to be our 5th one coming up next month. So these are fun. These are just really fun. These are artisans from all over Milwaukee area, kind of showing off what they have and what they can do. There's like coffee makers or soap makers, clothing, jewelry, dog treats, which that was kind of cool to see a lot of the dogs coming around and eating the treats. So it was it's really cool to kind of set up there, because we're just like another part of that, of the different kinds of artists that are in Milwaukee. So it's cool to see. So anyways, guys, that's what I have for you. Don't forget to check out coffeepaletonline.com. That's our coffee line. And of course, bulkystudiosart.com. Right now, all the matted prints are discontinued because of the mats. I have different mats that I'm going to be bringing in next year. So right now, they are now 30% off. They are now $7 each for the 8x10 mats. So go and check those out, guys. Yeah, that's going to be going on, I think, through at least through the end of the month, and possibly possibly the rest of the year, most likely. So, but anyways, go and check those out. Again, guys, I really appreciate you caring, sharing, liking, commenting here, and of course, watching me talk crazy with my crazy hair, which I just noticed. It's like, ooh, what's going on, Jeff? So I just want to say thank you guys again. I really do appreciate it. And I do promise that pretty soon I have some other programming that I'm going to be working on with YouTube and StreamYard here, and definitely with Hanging with the Web show. I have a lot of cool things in mind, but I'm not going to do anything with that until next year. Hopefully I'll even have like a backdrop, so you don't have to see all this behind me. I just got to figure out how big this needs to be, because this is kind of a wide shot here. So all right, guys. Well, again, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And keep on the lookout, because coming up soon, I'm going to try to get a few Coloring with Jeff episodes in there. So be be prepared for those too. All right, guys, again, thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you guys hopefully at a convention or show or something. Gosh, God, them little gnats near you. So, oh, and also check out jeffbalkystudios.com. That's the website. And I'm going to be doing a lot more uploads on that starting in the next upcoming week or two. I'm going to be starting to post and more different blogs and stuff like that as well. So check there too. Thank you guys. Take care. And again, just thank you.